awful lot of unpredictable things. Easy.
That's right.
Good.
Oh, I missed it then.
Good. Very nice. Big fan of it. So the other thing, when I talk about consistency, and I talk a lot about it, trying to generate that nice consistent way of going, I know riders will be conflicted at times. Should I commit to the distance that I see and create inconsistency, or should I forego the distance in the interest of just keeping the rhythm the same? Consistency absolutely is the most important thing. Alright, so in the middle of this line, I see you just overcommitting a little bit in the interest of trying to make the distance that you see work. And that's a, don't do it, don't get sucked into it. Horses, right from sort of day one, need to learn about different distances a little bit too. And as I said earlier, we need to set parameters for the horses that are absolutely, totally understandable. And one of those is that consistency in the rhythm. Okay, good luck, Tara. So this afternoon, or this evening, I actually have another group that I'm teaching, which is one of my advanced jumping groups. And you'll see a lot of similarities in the teaching, and that's where I think the expectations for these young horses, the parameters are already set. It's all right, don't panic. I told you that was a very normal, healthy thing for a horse to do. So to me, this was all a little hurried and rushed, but it was fun. So right back to it again, back to the canter again. And I want you to keep the horse really, really slow on the approach to that jump. Really slow. Really slow. Just using your voice. Good. Excellent. Good. And you can see why I don't mind horses stopping. Like, that's a good, healthy thing, especially for this horse and its nature, that very sort of quick-moving, quick-thinking nature. Just trying to get the horse to be slow and relaxed, taking its time in processing the information. Slow down, slow down. Yeah, very good.
He makes it look too easy, that's what he does.
Always relieved. Honestly, when this day started, I had no idea how it was going to go. But that's terrific, and that's why I say it's so important. Let the horse do that. And the only disappointing part of that stop was that it wasn't more gradual, where in a perfect world what we have is we have a horse that sort of 5 strides out sees that new jump and goes from a canter to a fast trot to a slow trot to a fast walk to a halt over sort of a space of 4 or 5 strides.
First medals and then the woman goes over the head into the water.
Because that's a horse processing that information very slowly.
And when a year and a half ago,
it's also, if you have a horse that
the
does
guy
that,
from Venezuela there,
because you just
he
add
had
a
to
little
get
bit
carried
of
off
leg
the golf cart
and
because he went over into the water and it's pretty bad.
But when your horse canters up there and its brain is going a million miles an hour and it's focusing on everything other than the jump, that's when you'll end up with that very late stop. And that's where the whole slowness thing is very, very important for this horse. Let's get you to go back and do that again. Just think, it's still trying to generate that good length of stride. I think the goal would be on this line, in a perfect world, you would get 5.5 strides on this line. And I know that sounds wrong, but for you, the distance that you get at the individual jumps is less important than trying to generate the appropriate length of stride with control that you're looking for. So 5.5 is effectively a means of creating that 12-foot stride that you want. If you do 6 even strides, that probably indicates that your stride is only 11.5 feet long. If you do 5 strides, which would be a stretch, that would be an indication that your stride is probably more like 12.5 feet long, or maybe even 13 or something. So anyway, you know, I use the numbers as an indicator for length of stride more than anything else. And the size of the jump, you know, you can work on these striding issues just as easily over this size jump as you can over bigger jumps. One of the things that Catherine said earlier that I listen to everything that riders tell me, and she said that once she gets on course, that her mule will start to get rolling a little bit. And I don't like that, just because I don't like the idea of the jumps being the thing that create the initiative or create the length of stride. That's all right. A lot of fussing and ears flapping and all that sort of stuff, that's a real distraction. So just go down there and try it again. Lots of voice. Just, you know, even with her, you just want to try to take away some of that unnecessary energy. Talk a lot about energy. It's just sort of a generic term for a lot of what these horses will have too much of. It might be speed or length of stride or impulsion, but it all boils down to the energy level. Yeah, that's fine. So that's 6.5, which is fine. You want to work towards 6. We'll try that one more time. The slower you can get this horse to be through the turn, and now I'm talking about probably going into the turn. So when you land after your first jump, we've got to completely shut down that excess energy. And then we can come out of the corner and generate some controlled length of stride as we approach the next line of jump. So this is something, anybody that jumps, this is something that I find a very, very critical thing. When you land after a jump, you should always do the same 3 things. And when I say always, I mean always. Straight. Straight is priority number 1, because straight is really just a continuation of the quality of straightness that you establish going to the jump. So landing straight is just a continuation of that. One minor little variation in my formula. I said everybody should do the same thing. There is one minor variation. Straight, slow, which would be adequate for the 2 of you guys, and collected would maybe be the difference for you. Now, slow, we're trying to get that energy level back down. For you, your energy level is fine, but we do need to compress that length of stride a little bit. Okay, so straight, slow, and a lead change if necessary. All right, so do those 3 things going into the turn. I think generally a horse that maybe has a balance issue in the process of trying to make straight, collected, and lead change if necessary happen, the balance will fix itself. Pardon me? The quality of the lead change, whether it's a flying lead change or a simple lead change, is entirely up to all of you guys. Okay, Catherine, give that another go for me. So those 3 things: straight, slow, lead change if necessary, going into the turn. And then as we come out of the turn, we take this very well organized horse and then ask it to lengthen its stride a little bit, starting here, a little longer. Good. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that was good. That was really, really good. And that's you controlling the situation. And then once you jump that line, it's the same 3 things. Straight, which you weren't good enough about making that straightness happen. The straightness is critical from the point of view is it's another way that the average horse will try to get control. What I said earlier about that bad initiative thing. Your horse doesn't want to be straight, or mule doesn't want to be straight because it wants to cut the turn. It's trying to get from point A to point B faster than we want. And it can do that by lengthening its stride or by cutting the turn. So effectively, we can't really control that process of getting from point A to point B without dealing with both of those issues. So we've just got to land and shut this girl down a little bit. And then as we come out of the turn, then we can start to generate that length of stride on our terms again. So that was well done, very nicely done. So, all three jumps. So that little quickness, that aggressiveness that you're experiencing, very, very normal for a short-strided horse. And it comes from the rider not being positive enough out of the turn to the jumps, where we sort of program the horse to see a jump, or I should actually say land after a jump, and become quite aggressive because of that lack of stride. So the goal is to generate the length of stride that you need on the approach to the jump, so there's no transition necessary once we jump in. Beautiful. Good. Really good, Jill. Now the only thing I just want you to think about, and we talked about this last night, that whole equitation thing, the equitation for the sake of functionality, just trying to arch your back a little bit more over top of the jump. So if this horse is inclined to lose its balance or maybe get a little strong across the top of the jump, your position is strong enough so that you can actually resist that and prevent that from happening. But only you know how hard the horse is pulling over top of the jump. Just try those same three jumps one more time. And anybody can see that was, really, really nice. The stride length was good. The 6 ended up a little bit short for you, which is the way it should for the average horse. And it ended up a little bit short without the quickness happening. So it was really good. Sit up, sit up. Good. Give her a pat on the neck, tell her what a good girl she's been. Excellent, good. What a great opportunity for you guys on these young horses too. What a fantastic opportunity to be here today, to be in front of you guys. You guys are very generous in your clapping. It's really, I think it's wonderful for the horses. I think it's nice for the riders to actually be appreciated too. You guys are doing a terrific job. So I think it's great exposure for these animals too. All right, same thing. She's trying to figure things out. She landed after that first jump and sort of propped and spat and sputtered a little bit. Try to get that forwardness again and give her a little cuddle and tell her, it's all right, girl. Good girl. You're being very good. She's still unsure. She's trying to figure out what she can get away with or what she's supposed to do, all that sort of stuff. It's a mystery to her a little bit. Still letting her get a little quick and hurried, letting him get a little quick and hurried over the jump. So just nice and slow, nice and slow. Slower. Good God. Total loss of control. Total loss of control. Which happened probably over top of your first jump. Look, this is your job. You're not explaining the parameters well enough. All right? This is your job. Forget about the jumps. This is a very brave, very athletic horse. You've just got to clearly set the parameters. Go back, start again. Much better, much better. You know, this, oh goodness. You're the issue here. And I try to be very constructive, but my job is to be critical. Yeah, you're just not consistent enough. You're not clear enough. He's such a positive horse and so lost as well. Has no clue. This is where your explanation isn't good enough. And what I'm asking you to do is very simple, but you've got your own sort of preconceived ideas a little bit. You know that you sort of feel like you have to tell your horse to jump the jump. No, you don't. You just have to regulate the stride. And that when you get to the takeoff of that last jump that your job is done. No, it isn't. You got to go straight, slow, lead change if necessary, transition back to the walk, then you're done. And as soon as you're done, hug him, kiss him, do everything that you need to do.